So we're going to have a look at the advantages and disadvantages of decision trees here. So the advantages are they're very simple to understand and interpret. You can look at a decision tree and it makes sense to you. You can show the decision tree to someone else and it will make sense to them. It doesn't make any assumptions about the data. It doesn't have to be linear, for example, or any type of specific data. You don't have to do a large amount to clean your data to the point where you can use a decision tree. The more data you have, the longer it's going to take to form, but that doesn't mean it's a lesser standard of decision tree that you've made. You can handle both numerical and categorical data with decision trees. So this can be a range of numbers, or it can be a cat-dog situation. It will work with any data type. And you can work out how good your model is with statistical tests, which is kind of always nice to know that you get an understanding of how good a model you've produced. So the disadvantages, normally you work with binary trees, so just 2 choices out of each of the leaves. But often you need a third question, so that extends the depth of that tree. You get another layer of leaves that you need to put in. And if you're working with complicated data, it can end up actually overfitting your data, which is something you really don't want as a data scientist. Or you can produce a very complicated decision tree that is just a mess on the page, and you've lost that advantage of it being simple to understand. What's kind of interesting is that if you have very small changes in your input data, you're going to end up creating a very different tree. So you need to be working with data that is stable and it isn't going to change. And sometimes you can end up with slight biases in your data. So this can be a class that dominates, and because this is shown up as such a good split to when the computer creates its algorithm, you can end up with biased trees from that. So decision trees are a great place to start. They might not be your sensible final answer for your data, but they are a good and simple way of analysing simple data sets. You can get to some more complicated data sets as well, but there's other tools that you can use further on, things like random forests and bagging, a lot of stuff there that you can do to improve them, which makes this cluster of tools a very powerful tool. The last little video, we're going to have a look at the good kind of data to use for decision trees, and I'll meet you there when you're ready.